Hello students, in my last video we have started with chapter 3, that is plant kingdom, from unit 1, that is diversity in the living world. In this plant kingdom chapter we have finished about the classification system, that is using which classification systems the plant kingdom got its classification, got its divisions that we have seen. We also saw how the plant kingdom is further divided. In that, the first division we are going to be starting today. The first division in the plant kingdom is going to be the algae, the higher algae. We are going to go from the smaller organisms to the more developed, more evolved, more you can say fully developed organisms. So algae are going to be the lowest group of the plant kingdom. They are usually going to be small. They can even be microscopic at times. Some examples of microscopic algae are also going to be present. So whenever I am talking about the plant kingdom, always remember the main important character of the plant kingdom. It is they are autotrophic and they are photosynthetic. Because they are photosynthetic, they are autotrophic. Photosynthesis, production of the food, or synthesis is production, photo is light. Using the sunlight, they are preparing their own food. And because they are preparing their own food, they are called as autotrophics. Auto means on their own and tropic means which are preparing their food. Tropic is own food producing organisms. So the plant kingdom, the first one, that is algae, let us study. So coming to the general characters of the algae, they are very simple, thyroid, autotrophic, chlorophyll bearing and aquatic organisms. Here they are simple. The structure is not going to be very complicated. They are going to be not having any organ systems as such. Simple cells are going to be present together, forming the tissues, performing the different works of the plant. They are thyroid. Thyroid, this is going to be thyroid. If you are going to be observing the plants, they grow tall and they are developing into root, stem, leaves and so on. But the algae are mostly not going to be developing the root, stem, leaves and all. In fact, they are going to be usually spreading on the ground or on the bark of the stem of the plants or on the rocks. They are found attached to something usually, and they are going to be present in a thyroid form. Thyroid means nothing but leaf like, or you can say suppressed or flattened like they are going to be there. They are autotrophic, I just now told you, preparing their own food. They are chlorophyll containing, chlorophyll bearing, and they are aquatic. Aquatic means living in water. They can be freshwater or they can be living in the marine water, that is in the sea water. Here we can see that not only in the water, sometimes they are also visible in moist stones. Moist stones means the stones which are wet, or the moist soils, or even on the wood you can see that the algae are present. In fact, some algae are also going to be found in association with the fungi. So this one you can see, this is not only the algae, but this is going to be the algae plus fungi. So algae plus fungi, when it is present, it is going to be called as a lichen, and they are appearing something like this. Sometimes the algae are also found over the organisms. Like you can see over here. This green color fur you can see over here is going to be nothing but the algae. The algae have grown over the hair of this sloth bear. So the algae can be found in association with the fungi, then it is going to be called as the lichen, or even on the back of the animals, hair of the animals also algae are found sometimes. Then coming to the form and size of algae. Now the form and size of the algae is going to be of different types. It is highly variable. There are a variety of algae of different forms and size. Some of the most ones are, some may be microscopic unicellular forms. Microscopic means you cannot see this algae by your naked eyes. You require a microscope to see them. Those are known as microscopic. Unicellular. Uni means one, cellular means cell. So the algae are going to be made up of only one single cell. One cell only is performing all the activities including photosynthesis. Example is going to be Cleidomonas. Here you can see this is a Cleidomonas. These cells you are going to be observing over here, these cells are actually complete organisms you can say. They are green in color, photosynthetic, microscopic, unicellular, but they are preparing their own food. They are called as Cleidomonas. Then they can be colonial forms. Colonial means living in groups, living in colonies. Example volvox. This is going to be a volvox. Again, this can be microscopic, or when they are present in larger amount, they are visible to eyes. Filamentous forms. Filamentous forms, example you can take your Ultrix or the Spirogyra. When the college starts, you will be having the Spirogyra. You can see this Spirogyra. It is present on the slide. Even to observe this kind of a structure that is going to be given over here, you need a microscope. So Spirogyra and Ultrix are filamentous, means in long cylindrical forms they are going to be there. The green color thing that you are seeing is the chloroplast. They are having the spiral shaped chloroplast in case of Spirogyra. So in the form and size, they can be unicellular, microscopic, or they can be colonial, or they can be filamentous forms. Coming to the reproduction of the algae. How the algae are performing the reproduction. So herein the reproduction in the algae can take place by three types: vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction. First one, vegetative reproduction. Vegetative, I will give you an example which you will understand. Suppose you want to grow a rose plant. If I want to grow a new rose plant, seeds are not formed in the rose plant. So what we do? We cut the healthy stem, a particular part, a thick part of the stem we are cutting, and we are planting it in the ground. So when we are doing this, what will happen? The rose plant stem that is there, that will grow into a new plant. That is known as the vegetative reproduction. So herein the algae can reproduce by vegetative reproduction, that is by fragmentation. So each fragment develops into a thallus. Fragmentation is nothing but when you are cutting it, or when the parts of the organism can grow into a new organism. Fragment, small parts. So as you can see, suppose this is going to be your organism, you are cutting it into two, then this can grow into a complete new organism, and this can again grow into a new organism. So from one, two, or many organisms can be brought out by fragmentation. The second is going to be the asexual reproduction. So, what is going to be the asexual reproduction? So, asexual reproduction is going to be where there is going to be production of the spores. Here also, the male and the female, when they are involved, two gametes when they are involved, it will be called as sexual. But here, without the formation of the gametes, when spores are produced, they are called as asexual reproduction. Herein, examples is going to be the zoospores. You can observe over here, in a single plant itself, the spores are going to be released. Small organism like small seed like things are going to be released without fertilization. Fertilization means without the male and female coming together, without the male and female gametes coming together, the spores are released. Even you can see in this diagram, this is also the sporulation. The organisms is giving out small spores, zoospores. So they are flagellated, sometimes they can be flagellated, and flagellated means they are having these type of the legs, you can say, these type of hair like structures with the help of which they can move. So they are motile. So they can be flagellated and they germinate to give rise to new plant. So each of them can germinate. Germinate means each of them can grow to give a new plant. So now here this is going to be flagellated, it is motile, it can go from one place to some other and it can grow into a complete new organism. So that is zoospores. Then coming to the sexual reproduction. Sexual here comes through fusion of two gametes, wherein the seed is produced. For example, whatever fruits you are using, whatever seeds are going to be there, seeds are formed by the sexual reproduction only. So whatever the seeds are going to be formed are by sexual reproduction. Herein, in the sexual reproduction, the seed is not formed, but it is going to be by the fusion of two gametes. Let us see some important types of the sexual reproduction. The sexual reproduction can be mainly of three types: isogamous, anisogamous, and oogamous. So as you can see over here, they are going to be male and female. One male and female, when they are coming together, it is known as the sexual reproduction. So whenever the fusion of male and the female is taking place, it is the sexual reproduction. It is of three types: isogamous, first one. Here, fusion of gametes similar in size takes place. So this you can see, both are of the same size. So when the male and the female are of same size, it is known as isogamous. They may be flagellated. Flagellated, by now you know, they are having these hair like structures because of which they are able to move, or they can be non-flagellated. For flagellated, you can take the example Ultrix, or non-flagellated, you can take the example that is your Spirogyra, the diagrams we have seen just now. Coming to the second one, that is anisogamous. In anisogamous, the fusion of two gametes of the dissimilar size is going to take place. So here you can see the female is larger and the male is smaller. Even vice versa can occur. The male can be larger, the female can be relatively slower. So whatever it is, the size of the male and female are dissimilar. They are not same. Usually the male is only larger and the female gamete is smaller, anisogamous. Example is some species of Eudornia, a type of algae. Then the third type is going to be oogamous. So oogamous is the fusion between one large non-motile static female gamete and a smaller motile male gamete. So here you can see in the case of oogamous, one egg is going to be there which is going to be large, and this is non-motile. You don't see any flagella over there, so the female egg is not able to move. It is non-motile or it is static, and only the sperm cell, that is your male gamete, is going to be motile, and this male gamete will come and fuse with the female gamete to form a new organism. So this type of the reproduction takes place in some algae like the volvox and the fucus. So this is going to be about the reproduction in the algae, the general introduction of the reproduction in algae. Reproduction in algae can take place by three methods: vegetative reproduction by fragmentation, asexual reproduction by spore formation, or sexual reproduction by fusion of two gametes. The fusion of two gametes can be of three types: isogamous, same size gametes; anisogamous, dissimilar size gametes; and oogamous, where the egg cell, one female is going to be non-motile larger and the male is going to be smaller and motile. So this is going to be the reproduction in algae. Coming to the uses of the algae, the benefits of the algae, advantages of the algae, or the uses of the algae. So when we are talking about the uses of the algae, here let us see some uses, important uses of algae. First point here is they are performing photosynthesis. We have seen that they are performing the photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, the plants are going to be taking in the carbon dioxide and they are going to be giving out the oxygen. So they are going to be taking the oxygen, converting it into the taking the carbon dioxide and giving out oxygen, which is going to be necessary for the survival of life on this earth. So they are going to be fixing around half of the total carbon dioxide on the earth, and hence they are responsible for increasing the level of dissolved oxygen in the air and also in the water. Dissolved oxygen is mainly in the water. Then they are primary producers. Now what are producers? Those plants which are going to be able to produce their own food, organisms who are producing their own food are known as producers. So algae are producing their own food, so they become the primary producers. These algae are in turn going to be food to many such other organisms. Smaller organisms are eating algae. These smaller organisms are again eaten by some others. Again they are going to be eaten by next. Again they are going to be eaten by next. So on these algae, many other organisms are going to be surviving. So they are going to be forming the basis of food cycle of all aquatic animals. Algae are mainly aquatic. So in the aquatic, that is in the water, the algae are the main source of food for many of the organisms, directly or indirectly. So that is going to be, they are the primary producers. Then we can see that not only the fishes in the waters or other organisms in the water, but even the human beings eat around 70 species of marine algae. So around 70 species of the marine algae, marine means the seawater algae. 70 species of the marine algae are used as food by the human beings. Example is going to be the Porifera, you can see over here, then the Laminaria and the Sargassum are going to be the examples of the algae which are eaten by the human beings. Then, apart from that, we can see another important use of algae is going to be the agar. Agar is going to be nothing but it is a powdered form of some of the algae, that is Gelidium and Grassaria. So this Gelidium and Grassaria help in the production of a powder known as the agar. So this agar is having the property that when we are putting the agar in water, it dissolves, and when we are heating it, it dissolves completely. When we cool it, it will form a semi-solid jelly-like. It is forming a jelly-like substance. So this jelly-like substance in the media, it is a media is prepared and it is used to grow microorganisms. That is, it is used to grow microbes, and also it is used in ice creams and jellies. So these are going to be the jellies. So here you can see that this is going to be a culture plate where the microorganisms are grown, and here I hope you can see here the yellow color part, that you can see transparent part, that is going to be the media in which agar is going to be put. So because of the presence of the agar only, this jelly like appearance the plate is going to be getting, the media is going to be getting. So this agar is going to be used to grow microbes and also in the making of ice creams and jellies. Then, coming to the next benefits of algae, some marine brown and red algae produce hydrocolloids, that are water holding substances. So they are acting like the sponge, you can say. During the transport and all, they are using this algae as packaging material. Because they are hydrocolloids, they absorb the water like a sponge and they store it. So because of which they are used as hydrochlorides. Example, algin, brown algae, you can see over here, this is an algin, and carrageen, a red algae. These are commercially used as hydrocolloids. Like a sponge only they are going to be used because it will store lot of water. It is a water holding substance. Also, our algae is a protein rich substance. That is, protein rich unicellular algae like Chlorella and Spirulina are used as food supplements by space travelers. So whenever the space travelers, the astronauts are going in space, they have to give their body enough of the protein and other substances. But if they want protein, they cannot carry the food over there. The protein is present in egg, meat, and so on. But they can't take all these in the space and cook and eat. But their body has to maintain the proper protein quantity. So they are taking such a type of substances, that is the powder form of the spirulina and the chlorella, which are rich in protein, high protein content. So they are eating this, which will give them their daily requirement of the protein. So they are used as food supplements by the space travelers. So in this manner, the algae are going to be very important to us. They are having commercial benefits. First of all, they are fixing the carbon dioxide, hence increasing oxygen in water. They are the primary producers, so they are maintaining the food cycles. They are used as food by humans. Agar is used to grow microbes in ice creams and jellies. And then we can see that they are also used as hydrocolloids commercially and as a food supplement by the space travelers because they are going to be rich in the protein. So this is going to be about the uses of algae, important from exam point of view. Mention the uses of the algae or what are the benefits of the algae, they can ask you. In the next video, we will be studying about the different types of algae, as the algae are going to be further classified into three groups, that is chlorophyceae, that is the green algae, phaeophyceae, that is the brown algae, and rhodophyceae, that is the green algae. These are going to be the subclasses of the algae, that is the subdivisions of the algae, the three types of algae: chlorophyceae, phaeophyceae and rhodophyceae. About these three types of algae, we will be studying in detail in the next video.